afternoon, everyone. We would like to welcome two-time John Deere Classic winner Jordan Spieth to the Media Center. Jordan, you're making your first start back here since 2015. Want to get some comments on what it's like to be back?
Yeah, I've now touched the whole golf course, and it brings back great memories. I remember a lot of shots. I remember a lot of moments. I played it 4 times. I was lucky to receive an exemption here when I was in college as well. So I'm kind of had this on my radar since early spring, and I just didn't want to commit, not knowing, just with everything going on in my life right now, didn't want to commit and then not play. So but I was pretty excited about the idea that I would be coming back to the Deere this year, and now that we're here, it's crazy. It feels like it really does feel like a second home, and it's been really, really cool. The reception I've received since coming back, just in one day at Zach Johnson's charity event, and then a couple days here at the golf course. So I don't know if I have support like this anywhere outside of DFW. So hopefully that continues this week, and I can kind of pick up where I left off.
Made your first appearance at the Big Dig last night. Who had the most fun between you, Sammy, or Greller?
I think probably Michael had the most fun, but he and his 2 kids were out driving tractors around. So was I. It was a lot of fun. It was full circle, right? I mean, I was 21 the last time I was here, and now I've got 2 kids that I took to the Big Dig. So it was, but it was an incredible event, incredible facility. I did not think it. I mean, I had heard all about it, but I did not think it was of that scale and that kind of the show that was put on. So they've got some amazing machines.
With that, we'll open up the questions. Start off the back. Craig.
Jordan, other than the hairline, how far removed, how far back does 2013 feel like? I mean, how different is life these days as a father of 2 and obviously an established star on the tour?
Like my day-to-day work life is not that different, I mean, I probably had longer hours back then on energy level, and I didn't have anything to get back home for. So, I probably spent a little more time at the course back then, but in general, my day-to-day on course hasn't changed much from back then. But off the course, it's obviously very different. I think I try to be that kid. I try to think about being that kid every time I tee it up. And rookie year out here was such a blur. I started out with no status and ended up after this week having full status. So it was kind of a dream come true ride, and I just kind of went where I needed to go and didn't ask questions and just played golf. And now, things are quite a bit different in what you can schedule and, how you set your season and whatnot. A lot of times it's hard. You want to play every week and you just can't do it. I mean, I'm getting close to it this year, but back then it was like, well, I'll just go where I need to go. Oh, I'm in next week. Okay, great. I'll go there. So I feel in some ways the same, but a lot of ways, decently far removed, just given most of my life is off the golf course, and it's quite a bit different.
You mentioned trying to be that kid. I vividly remember 2015, Saturday, coming down 18, you had a chance to shoot your career best, and you made the birdie putt, and you came in the media center, and you seemed giddy. I mean, it was like you were a kid who just shot his broken 80 for the first time, Do you remember that feeling?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's almost breaking 60 for the first time. Should feel pretty similar. Should feel better. No, I don't remember. I mean, I remember the finishing stretches. I remember the shot I hit on 17 was quite a bit lucky. I kind of came out of it, and it was spinning possibly off the green, and it hit the pin and went in. And then 18, I made a cool right to left swinging putt from the front of the green to the front pin. I remember the putt. I remember with a few feet to go being like, oh, that's going in. But I don't remember anything right after that by any means, like coming in here giddy. I mean, find somebody that shoots 61 and isn't giddy. I've seen Bryson shoot 60 and be upset because he should have shot 59, and that's true. But that's the only time I've seen anyone go that low and not be pumped.
2015 was obviously a significant moment for this tournament, your victory. What do you remember about 2015, about your decision to come here? And have you rethought that at any point over the last 11 years, just thinking about, 9 years, just thinking about what might have happened at St. Andrews had you gotten there a couple days earlier? Has that ever been a thought?
No, I don't think so. I had plenty of chances. I was in control of the tournament with 2 holes to go at St. Andrews and just needed to go par for a playoff or par birdie to win. So I wasn't off to like a slow start. I didn't feel like it. I was 21 too, so like the bounce back, any jet, like I had no regrets by the end of that week. Other than that, I don't. Like I said, I mean, it was part of my schedule, and it was the week before, and I like playing into majors when I can, and especially those early years. We had Akron right into the PGA late in the season. I played into the Masters every year, regardless of where it was. I tried to play into the Open, and then in 2016, the Olympics were the same week, and I opted out of the Olympics kind of last minute, and I don't think. One, I don't think I would have been allowed to play here. 2, I don't think it would have been a good idea to play and not play the Olympics when you're in the Olympics. And so then I started to play more leading into the Travelers, and I kind of just made a schedule change and then take a break before the Open. And I've just kind of mixed it up a little bit. And so this year I thought I'd play here and take next week off and then play the Open. Turns out I'm going to add and play next week as well. But my intent originally was to play here and that kind of come back to a place I have great memories, try and get in contention, try and do all those things I like to do before a major. And then maybe get over there a little early, not playing a tournament and play a few rounds and then play the Open. But I'm going to end up playing as the Open as my 3rd in a row, which has been a good spot for majors for me in the past. The Masters is the 3rd in a row a number of years for me too.
Jordan, you've seen the billboards around here. They talk about magic happening, and they point to you and your early success here. So much has happened since then. The major championships, the President Cups, the Ryder Cup wins, and everything else. Now you're back here as a grizzled veteran. Do you look at this golf course through a different lens, and you have the fond memories, but you know that it's something you can do well?
I think it's a phenomenal golf course. The only shame at all is when it plays really soft. It takes a little bit of the character away because you can miss it in the rough, or you can get away with flying a ball too far into the green or whatever because it'll stick. I played it yesterday, and it was the firmest I remember seeing it, and I was like, man, this is a different track. You got to really, but the shape of the holes, the shape of the greens, it's a great golf course. I think the biggest difference right now in how I'll play it, clearly, I'm not saying I'm the same player I was when I was here the last time I was here, but I hit it quite a bit further now, and so attacking the course off the tee will be a little bit different. And I've noticed that, like I hit some clubs in that, I shorter clubs in than I had. Today I hit one on 4 where I thought, man, I might have hit that a little too far right, and it was out in the middle of the fairway. It cut a corner, and so I think as much as I could hopefully draw on, good memories and good spots and where to play from in the past, maybe I'll be able to take advantage of my length on a couple holes that I didn't maybe have back then, but I got to do a lot of other things really well to keep up with the rest of it.
Is it flattering to think of how many hackers and duffers out there have tried to replicate your sand shot and some of the things that you made happen here in your 2 visits?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I think I've been fortunate to have, a few shots over my career that either, someone who plays the course wants to go try it or something like that. I'll tell you, I mean, I know you probably don't agree with this because it's cooler the way it happened, but I wish that I hit my shot to 3 feet and knocked it in versus going about it that way. And I'll say that about most of those shots I'm talking about. But, you know, you get into some tougher spots, and sometimes you can will the ball in, sometimes you get some good breaks. But if you're there quite often and you have a chance quite often, few of them seem to find the bottom of the hole, and that's what I was doing, you know, in that few years here where you know, I was having a chance to win most weeks, and then for whatever reason here at the John Deere, a couple of those times, you know, they hit the pin and went in, whether it was 13 on Sunday in 2013 on Sunday, or it was 2015 on Saturday. Both were not maybe exactly how I wanted to hit them, but you just keep on putting it around the hole, and every once in a while they drop.
The equipment world, since you won in 2013 to now, what are some of the biggest changes, would you say? I know it's a broad question, but some of the biggest changes with the 2013 to now?
Mainly just the driver, I think. Driver 3-wood, but I would say some guys are probably in some 3-woods from around that time anyway still. So I think the driver's come a long way. Mishits, I remember mishits dropping ball speeds by, you know, 3 or 4 miles an hour. I mean, if I hit one off the heel, it's as fast as if I hit it off the center now. And then toe balls are only dropping a couple miles an hour. So they're much more forgiving. You know, they launch and spin better. They're just, you know, drivers are close to maxed out. And I think there was some room back then, now that we see what they're at now. So that was probably the biggest change. I don't think the ball, everything's probably changed a little bit to be a little bit more forgiving and maybe just fine-tuning things, but that would be the biggest thing, I think.
And then is there anything you do different from 2013 to now as far as equipment with testing, how you go about it? I use launch monitor devices when I practice way more now. As far as equipment testing, no. I would say I've probably, because of the change in drivers, you know, I've gone through where I may have played the same shaft in my driver from 2011 to 2016. I've probably gone through 5 different ones since then, just in speed uptick with the aerodynamic improvement of driver heads, as well as increased speed just from me. So I've had to test a lot more drivers, but I'm pretty much, most everything else is right off the shelf for me.
Jordan, you're on the policy board through the end of the year. Can you give us an idea on where these negotiations are? Do you see them coming to some kind of resolution by the end of your term on the board? And if so, what happens to LIV players who want to come back over? What's the best way to bring them back into the fold?
That is an extremely loaded question that I could get in a lot of trouble answering. And I'll just say things of this nature take a little bit of time, but they're very active, and that's about as far as I can go for you.
Would you like to see it finish sooner than later, and is there a way to juice it up and get it going?
I'd like to see it done right for everyone, so the timing is the timing. Obviously, if anything can be done right and done sooner, that's great, but I would rather see it done correctly and done the right way for golf going forward for the longest amount of time, regardless of how long that takes to get there. But yeah.
Tom in the front.
Jordan, you said you're going to play the Scottish Open. Are you on the charter flight over?
I am, yes.
Okay. Does that factor into your
I don't
travel
love
plans
publicly going into my travel plans, but thank you for that.
No, does a perk like that get your attention and get you back to this event when they offer hassle-free?
That had nothing to do with me playing this week at all. No,
Okay.
No, because they're flying people over on jets from wherever you want to play in the tournament. So, no, it is fantastic that you can go from Davenport, Iowa, right into Edinburgh, Scotland. I didn't see that pop up on any of the airlines.
So it absolutely is great that it's been done like that, whether it was to the Scottish or the Open, but especially to the Scottish, where you're not getting guys to go to a major. That seems, easier. It's a great perk, but it made no difference in me playing next week or playing this week.
Gotcha. Fatherhood for you, has that changed your golf perspective at all?
I think on one side it hasn't changed my drive. I think it's changed kind of what is my drive. Like what do I like? I accomplished most of the actual written goals that I wrote down, by the time I was 22 years old. That's an unusual situation, and it leaves you in kind of a spot like, what now? And I think now getting perspective on what drives me and what do I really want to accomplish in the game, that's changed. And I think having kids and recognizing that, where golf was life, I don't think it's necessarily a very healthy thing. I'd like to be a lot of other things, and what I do is play golf versus it was all encompassing. And so that frees your mind up a little bit, to not maybe take a little bit of pressure off on the bad weeks. But the drive my drive is to be as close to where my ceiling's at, because it allows me to have the most fun I can have doing something that I love. And that's the healthiest way, I think, to look at it. And although I played great golf, I wasn't in that mindset back in the day. And had I been, the bad days would have been even better. And so it's tough, because I'm not, there's certain places of my game when I'm at my ceiling, they've measured, the worst I've ever been at one category would be 20th in driving, and I've been in the top 3 in every other category at my best. And so it's a very high bar. And so you're not always going to live at that, but the drive to be as close to or at my ceiling in every level is just as high with or without kids. It's just finding the right balance to be able to get enough work in to keep inching that way while living life on the side.
Has it been frustrating the last couple of years then, not being as close to your ceiling as you want to be?
It was a little more frustrating a couple years before that. Living kind of back in the top, 25 in the world the last 4 years has been a lot more fun than the previous few. But yeah, this year's been a bit frustrating, because I actually feel like I've been a better player than any of the previous few years, and I just haven't produced the results yet. I just haven't had it all come together. And so it's been a patience test this year. But it's a better place than kind of having no idea what to do, where I've lived before. So I can be patient if I'm confident about what I'm working on.
We have time just for about 2 more. One here.
Jordan, you had mentioned the Quad Cities, second to maybe DFW with support. Any particular instance or moments in your time here, whether it's on the course or off the course, that leads you to say that?
It's just, not one. It's all the moments. I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, it's very cool. It's from going over to Cedar Rapids on Monday and having that feel like it did 9 years ago to, I stopped by an event yesterday of a friend close to here, and then just being out here today. I mean, the amount of kids, the amount of, I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting people to be like, why haven't you been back? But all I'm hearing is, man, we're so glad that you're here. Everyone here is really excited to come out, and it's just, it's a good feeling, because I feel really good about this place too. So it's just a lot of positivity this week.
And with that being said, does that translate as play begins tomorrow for the next 4 days?
I hope so. I mean, I just, there's no such thing as too much positivity. So my plan is to continue to try to play with a smile on my face around this place like I've done before, and and hopefully yields a bunch of birdies. But you know, I can control what I can control, but it's really nice to feel like you have everybody else willing it in too.
And George's going to make it quick with the final one.
Jordan, again, back to looking at it through your lens of today, how important is this event and these regular PGA Tour events as opposed to the new elevated ones and all of the change that's taken place the last couple of years?
How important are the non-elevated events compared to the elevated events?
I mean, as you look at it through the lens of a Neil Shipley or a Jordan Spieth, they're two different lenses.
Sure. They both provide a tremendous opportunity to compete against the best players in the world. Best players in the world are in every event on the PGA Tour, and then this event's provided a springboard for me a couple different times into great success right after, even back when I was in college, what it did for me after, and then obviously rookie year. But it's 500 FedEx Cup points. It's a lot of people's job security. There's a lot at stake in every event that you play, and so I think regardless, I think the idea to be competitive against some of the best players in the world every week, and you come here and nothing changes. We're probably looking at it from the same lens in that way.
That's all the time we have for questions. Jordan, thanks for the time.